Here we are. We're live pregame. UVA, Notre Dame, the return game after I think we lost 16 points last time, but it was much worse than that, wasn't it? It felt much worse. Let me just double check on the last score. Um, oh no, it was 18, 54. 22, 54-76. Wow, we really got whooped last time around. But I'm T-Dub, Mark, joining from his car and joining us from practice with little Kai. Appreciate you jumping on. What are your thoughts on the game, Mark? You talked to some
So
people in the
I spoke with Coach O yesterday, and he's optimistic. The word you've been throwing around, or the words you've been throwing out, the phrase you've been throwing around for the last couple of weeks is cautiously optimistic. He's aware that he likes what direction the team's going in, of course, but he's also very, very aware of what February looks like for this team.
Yep.
It's a little frightening. It's daunting. That schedule of the big boys. I don't know. They feel like they've taken a great advantage of playing in some of the lesser ACC teams in the month of January.
Yep.
But they like the direction. They still, I guess, you can't harp on the past. You can't harp on, no, we should have, we could have, it's what you did and what you can do, and building and constantly developing. And he did mention Dante Harris, that he's a guy, has to be a catalyst, and he's a critical player. And he talked about Reese and IMAC being really good college basketball players, and that the team is going through those guys right now. And of course, he's happy with Ryan Dunn, but Dante Harris being a very critical player and what he brings to the table off the bench, and also another ball handler, energy, if he can stay healthy.
And Daddy, don't forget when the order.
Yep, we're gonna get the chocolate, and then and what he brings to the table, and defensively what he does, he makes a big difference for this team. And there was that series of games where Dante was out.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that luxury.
Dante was out.
And we didn't have that luxury of a backup point guard.
Ow.
And playing, and they play with three guards, right? They play with two guards, 2 point guards often. Which, again, I've said this multiple times, it can be a benefit, but it can also be a drawback, right? Because if you have 2 point guards that aren't great shooters, this offense is predicated on really high level shooting.
Yeah.
Right. You need 3 perimeter shooters to be really good. If you have 3 perimeter shooters within this offense, you're good. You're really good. And you can have average big guys. And if you have really good big guys or pretty good big guys, and you have 3 really good perimeter players, you've got a shot to do very well.
Right.
So within this team, IMAX shooting the heck out of the ball. Reese is just a really, really, really good college basketball player. And you've seen his progression over the course of the last 4 years. And you've got Tane playing better. You've got Dante. You've got, a big question mark I did not talk to him about was, I talked to Jay Willie about a while ago. I did not talk to O about was Ryan Dunn's, if we're going to see him on the perimeter at all to go a little bit bigger, which in some cases you may have to do down, I don't know about tonight, but in other games. But Rhodey, we didn't talk about Rhodey's contribution, but I guess, and we didn't talk about Elijah. 2 things I wanted to bring up to him, but we didn't have time. So, Notre Dame, you gotta like our chances. I know everybody's thinking we're gonna win, and we should win, yes, but this team also has a tendency to go on scoring droughts and long scoring droughts.
Yeah,
and we gotta be careful with that. Right. And since I don't know, I guess since the Notre Dame game, I think, or maybe it was Wake Forest. Wait 1 second. And maybe it was Wake Forest. We haven't gone down big, right? Which has also been part of a challenge that we had against some of the teams that we've lost to, going down big early.
Right.
And which leads to blowouts. Got down big early against Notre Dame, got down big early against 20-point losses. Right? It hasn't really happened. NC State looked like we were going to pull away. I don't think NC State's that great of a team, and they're solid. But you didn't go on the scoring droughts. And we had that lead, but the scoring drought happened, and next thing you know, NC State's back in the game. I like what we're doing defensively. That was a really interesting game, that NC State game, and we can talk about it so many different points another time. But Notre Dame tonight, and got to get this one, make it 5 in a row, right? You got to get this one.
This is a must win. We can't lose this one. Like we've talked about the schedule ahead. You can't. You gotta at home. You have to beat the ones that you're favored. You're more favored by 13 tonight. Notre Dame is not a great team, despite what they did to us the first time around. They shot the lights out. I think they were 48% from three that game. They had 11 of them. We have to stop them, and I think at home it should be easier. We can rebound. We got out rebounded big time last time. I think it was 40-27 from my notes here. So I think we've got a different look now. I think we handle them easily. I hope we do. What are your thoughts in terms of how we rebound from this game?
Minor's been playing really well defensively, and he's helping to bring some toughness.
Yeah,
he's been rebounding. Win? Not yet. We're going to. Minor's been playing well.
We're gonna win.
Grove,
Yeah.
I think is going to. In practices, I think that there's one person can just bring a certain level of energy that gets contagious.
Yeah, totally.
And that contagious behavior and that contagious type of play, aggressive type of play, in practice, it carries over into games. And once one guy starts doing it and coaches recognize one guy for doing it, it becomes like, okay, the light turns on. Well, if this guy's getting rewarded for his toughness and rebounding and hard play, I understand I have to do that now. And right. I think Blake Buchanan, at one point, I questioned Jay Willie. One of my questions to Jay Willie was, how's Blake Buchanan's footwork? This was going back 6 games ago, 5-6 games ago. And he said it was okay. And I've seen his footwork get much better. I've actually seen him play a little harder. And he's a first year.
Yeah.
There's a huge learning curve. And it's a big transition from high school basketball. Now you're playing super big boy basketball in the ACC. This is the real deal. Right. There's only so few guys that can do this and have done it. And you come from high school where it's good, but it's nowhere near this level. And so it takes some time. And I know everybody's really excited after Florida. Then there was some questions and, he's getting more time again. And I like what he's bringing to the table. I think they're all becoming a little bit more tough.
Yeah, this is got to be great experience for him down the line, right? First year coming in and having to play all these tough games and go against the gauntlet that is the ACC this year in terms of big men. I imagine it's going to pay dividends for him, 2-3 years from now. Chris West says, I think Harris playing tonight is the difference. We missed his defense the first game. Yeah, for sure. Their perimeter they hit a lot of tough shots. I get it, but they had a lot of open. It was like one extra pass, easy three every time down the court. It was terrible.
And we looked bad too on offense. I didn't see the whole game. I was coaching and going to a game. The parts I saw, and I rewatched some of it. We looked sloppy. Just and I know. On the road, Dougie had brought up 12 o'clock noon games, which there's some truth to and validity to, but everybody has to do it. And if you're that team, if you're a special team and you're a really good team, you bring it. You bring it every game.
Right.
You really do. And you find ways to overcome it. You don't get overmatched by 20 points against a team that's not that good.
Right.
Right. And
Bill's comment, I have to believe that based on our first meeting with Notre Dame, there's little chance of the Who's looking past this one to the game at Clemson. It seemed like the Tar Heels were thinking about their Duke game last night against Tech, which Tech is tough. I mean, we saw it firsthand when they're hitting their shots. They are very tough. And they almost beat Duke as well. So,
yeah, it's always a curious phenomena. Do teams look past of one game? I'm not sure that's what happened, Bill. You could be right, but to play on national TV, on ESPN, the primetime game, I'm not sure that you're looking past teams. Yes, it is always a big game, Duke, North Carolina. It's got to be in your mind somewhere in your head. Like, this is like the whole country and some of the whole world is watching that. But playing on national TV against Georgia Tech and Georgia, every road game, and coaches remind players of it every game. Every road game, conference road game, is always a battle, a huge battle. The crowd, the refs, whatever it is, that not being on a court you're used to, where you might we're not being used to a crowd, not being used to that corner spot, not being home, right? Not being in your own home, in your own bedroom, in your own living room. So I hear you, Bill. Here, you want this chocolate? I hear you, Bill, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'd like to think that the coaches are professional enough, and the players get it at this point. But there has to be some looking ahead for Carolina too.
Jim's comment: how do you think Notre Dame is preparing? I think very well with our guy Kyle Getter, KG there. They're going to have the game plan. I mean, they know what we're running. It's a matter of execution, I think, for them, and coming into JPJ. I think, and we're a different look now. I think they had to adjust to Jordan, and they have adjusted Dante. But I'm sure they're going to be ready with the game plan in terms of how to guard McNeely, how to guard IMAC. They're going to know how to Reese's tendencies. They're going to know those. It's going to be up to everyone else.
I got to tell you, I only saw when I was there, no matter how much you prepare for UVA, right? It doesn't matter. Like, I only saw one time in all my games of watching UVA basketball, a defense giving them a really, really hard time. And that was Duke with the team with Jason Tatum and Grayson Allen. And they switched everything.
Yeah, they switched, and they ran out quick to get easy transition buckets.
And that game, I mean, Jason Tatum was remarkable, but it was just UVA had a hard time getting shots off and making plays. And that was the only time where I really saw the offense being stuck. Now, I know Gonzaga a couple of years ago in Wisconsin, but in terms of just being scouted right, and UVA I'm not sure what kind of plays. Like, that defense was remarkable, and you can see how many players from that team are in the NBA who are really good players too, who are making huge impacts. Other than that, I think we've kind of just not played well, and maybe not had the players or not had the chemistry, right? But so I don't. Going back to Kyle Getter, he can prepare them. We had a deal. He can prepare them, but I'm not sure how much the preparation is going to really impact Notre Dame trying to stop what UVA does, especially at home.
Right. It is. It's tougher. I mean, every scouting report is really good. I mean, me and you, we've read them. They're great. Executing them is a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
It's like you see the tendencies of every player. I mean, you have synergy, everything. Everything is out there. It's just a matter of executing. That's always easier said than said than done. You need the athletes, you need them locked in. And on the road, I think it's this year especially been pretty tough to get road wins. Daniil Bryant is still waiting on that roadie breakout game. Yeah, Roadie's got a tough crowd now. But beginning of the season, everybody was on his side. Now, I think he's getting exposed a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about everybody, because we know we've had our some of our staff, people who were like questioning. I'm not saying they were naysayers, but they were questioning. Then they just couldn't understand
why so many minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Why Rhodey and why not Elijah, or why Rhodey in general? What's he bringing to the table? I think he does add some value and ball handling. I'm not sure that it's 30 minutes of value. And now we're seeing, and also without Dante, I think his minutes probably increased. And now we're seeing some adjustments right within the coaching staff. And I'm not sure that we're going to see a Rhodey breakout game. I'm not sure he's that guy. Maybe we will. I'm not sure he's that guy that's going to be. He's certainly not Kyle Guy. He's going to shoot it like Kyle Guy does, right? He's not super athletic. He's not going to dunk on somebody, but I think he's solid. I think he's a solid player, and I think over time he's going to improve. And given the amount of experience and time, he's fairly comfortable out there, right? Yeah. And he's not. I don't think he looks to be that guy that's going to just go out and try to hunt shots and and I think he's a little bit conservative, and I also think that he has to get used to playing from a lower level college basketball conference to super high level talented,
Yeah.
really, really good, strong, athletic basketball.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's that it seems like he's a couple years away, and right now he's being thrust into the spotlight more so than people probably expected him to be, including himself. And he's adjusting, right? And it's tough. Like you said, that's a tough adjustment. That's a really tough one.
Right. But again, his role is not going to be, I mean, yes, he's got to shoot the ball better. You know, he's shooting under 30% from three. I don't know what it is right now after the last game. His role is, and I don't think he wants to be that guy where he's going to be McNeely, he's going to be Kyle Guy, he's going to be Malcolm Brogdon, Justin Anderson, and he's not that athletic. He's not that level of athleticism that those guys are. So I think we have to understand that Andrew Rohde's Andrew Rohde. Let's maybe temper the expectations, knowing who he is, and he's the guy that's playing that role. But maybe he's beat those guys out in practice and tryouts and during the preseason. So I think we also have to understand that. And
what about Elijah here? Chris West is asking, is he going to get more playing time?
I don't know that he's in the plans. You know, it's a question. We gotta have a Jay Willie show soon. We have to, and you know, those are questions that Jay Willie we can ask, and we can figure out, is he going to get playing time, and if not, why not? What's he doing in practice? I know there's a big concern when first years aren't playing,
right?
And that the fear is that they don't get minutes, so they're going to transfer. I'm not so sure that's true with Elijah, because there's a plan. There's a plan for Elijah, right? And clearly there's a plan for him. And you know, one of the things I also talked about, Coach O, folks, I'm sorry. One of the things I talked about was the future, and I talked to him about Christian, who's my guy, and they're high on him, but they know he's got to get better. And one of the things that O mentioned was athleticism. They really have to recruit athleticism. Well, you know, if they're looking for athleticism, Elijah is definitely part of the plan.
Yeah,
right? Elijah, Dante with lots of speed. So, you know, there's definitely a plan for Elijah. And I think that before people start getting so worried that he's going to transfer, all first years want to play. Every first year's parents wants them to play.
Right.
And I've mentioned this before. I had to be talked off the ledge with Ty's first year when he wasn't playing. And it was like, wait a minute, what has he done to earn playing time? I'm not at practice.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. And fortunately, he started getting some playing time. And I think, you know, that it's a guard heavy team right now, a real guard heavy team. And we don't know what's happening in practice, right? So maybe Elijah's not stepping up in practice. Maybe I don't want to say not stepping up, but maybe he needs to hit some more shots from the outside. Maybe he needs to learn the system more. Maybe he needs to defend better. We don't know. We don't know the answer to that, right? And same goes for what's his name? Bond, right? Leon Bond. I'm curious about where he fits in this team because I'm not sure what position he is. And that's something that is he, especially against bigger, longer teams, where does he fit in? And maybe is he a perimeter player? Is his shot good enough to start and get contributing minutes? Right. So those are two guys that I'm very curious about.
Bill, with the show's even better when you guys children make an appearance. Reminds us what is really important. Winning the game, of course. You're right.
Bill, that's certainly one way of looking at it, and thank you. I think the other way could be a little bit more annoying and harassing, and so, but thank you.
Bond is listed as a forward on the roster, and Dunn is listed as a guard.
Yeah, and Dunn rarely plays guard.
Yeah.
Right. I know Dunn's dad for a long time, and really good dude. We've had some good conversations, and they're a patient group. There's some expectations, and Dunn is playing well. He's playing really well. He had a great game last game. What's he last game? Last couple of games, he's playing really well.
Yeah.
Of course, his free throw shooting improved, and everybody has areas of improvement. But he's got a huge upside, and whether or not he's going to be playing guard, and I think there might be times when he has to play the wing. Especially if we go against some big guys, especially if we play bigger teams, and Minor and Grove may have to step in, or Minor and Buchanan have to play that spot.
Danny, with as rough of a mini streak that we had, if Duke beats UNC this weekend, we're in control of our own fate with winning another regular season title, which is,
as we talked about it,
that's a lot to ask, but
we always want to be optimistic, but we also have the strength, the big boys around the corner, right? So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to finish in the top 3 or 4, right? With this team, even as they're improving and getting better, got the big guns waiting for us, and they're good. Clemson on the road is tough. Duke and Carolina, fortunately, is at home. Virginia Tech is always going to be a good one, right? No matter what. And that's on the road. And I don't know how good Virginia Tech is, but again, conference road games are tough always. Always.
Yeah, we've been very lucky recently that we won on the road, but like in general, like road games are not giving.
Yeah, when you look at Notre Dame, look at Wake Forest. Got blasted by both those teams.
Yeah,
Wake is solid, and it's we're gonna have to wait and see how good they are. Wait to see, and Notre Dame, yeah. I think we played well certainly against Georgia Tech, but there were some times when we went on that scoring drought, and crowds make a huge difference. That 6-man is tough. That 6-man is for the home is motivating. You feel like you have another level of power, another level of speed. Right?
We have 6 more home games and 5 more road games, so an opportunity for sure to show up. Danny with optimistic, but it will be in our hand. 3 weeks ago, we were mathematically eliminated. Yeah, it's very true. Like it, but winning them all is a tough thing to ask. But
Danny's such a great dude and always optimistic. Always, like he just sees the good in everything, which is I love hanging out with him. We'll go to lunch and he always sees the good in everything, and it's just like it's refreshing, especially living in New York City and during this time. And Danny's just like everything's great, and he's fortunate. I love he's got the greatest life, right? He travels, he hangs out, he's very accomplished in his craft. But he's really figured out how to have a great life. So I appreciate Danny and his optimism.
So game coming up. What is prediction? We got 2 minutes. Predictions, thoughts?
I'm not sure. We always want it to be easy, and we always want UVA to run away with it. I just am not confident that. I'm not completely confident that we have the ability to sustain. Not yet, baby. Not yet. Wait. This to sustain a whole game. So my 25 or 28 minutes is running thin. The attention span. So I'm gonna say quickly we win by 9.
9. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna go 70, 60. I think 10. I'm gonna give us a 10-point win. Game starting. We got predictions coming in. Jim's got us by 7. Jen's got us. A tight one, winning by 2. Chris West got us winning big. So let's see. We'll probably just do post game. We'll probably skip halftime. We'll see you guys in the post game, Mark. Hopefully, if you're in a good place, we'll see you. Go Hoos!
By post game, I'll be home.
Perfect. Talk to you soon.